we're moving here into the new millennium, and we go into the exponential curve, and we're into this phase where the social networking phase that I know George talked about. This happened because the technology changed. Initially, the first browsers only enabled us to read the web, and many people predicted that unless we could write to the web, people wouldn't be interested. But actually, it was such an exciting thing to do that people were happy to read in the first instance, because there was nothing like it else. It gave us a value it gave us things we didn't have before, even though there wasn't much information. Then the browser technology developed, it became interactive. You could write to the web in natural language, you didn't have to learn HTML, and that's when people suddenly found that they had time and wanted to write diaries on the web. Here's my web diary, let's call it a weblog. And somebody invents blogs. And that software, you can download it, you don't know where it sits in the world, you don't worry about that, you just know that if you write something, everyone can read it. Of course, most blogs aren't read by many people, but that doesn't matter. Some blogs, it's the hubs and authorities things in the web. Some blogs can change the world. Some blogs are read by millions of people every day. Most blogs aren't. But it's the ability to do it. The wikis is another one. And now we're into Facebooks and MySpace and all the issues that we have with privacy and the problems of using the social networking software that are the new phenomena the issues we're trying to tackle today. But there will be other issues in the future as things continue to develop. I also like to think about 3 phases of the web. In the first phase, the first 5 or 6 years, there wasn't much on the web, and if you looked for something, you'd be surprised if you found it. In the second phase, there was much more going on. People were beginning to sell and buy and sell things on the web. People could write to the web. There was more content going on. Companies and governments started to put information on the web. And if you looked for something on the web, you would hope to find it. We're now in the phase where if you look for something on the web, you expect to find it. In other words, we have in 15, 16 years, moved to a state where if information isn't on the web, there's something wrong. If you as a person, or you as a company, or you as a government don't put your information on the web, you don't exist. Right? You have to have a website. You have to exist in the digital world, or it looks like you don't exist at all. It's a really interesting phenomenon, and of course it carries on. And this is because studying this is a very important element of web science. So we're currently in the world of Web 2.0, the social networking phenomena. It's changed every aspect of our lives. This is used in work as well as in the social sphere. I've talked about blogs and wikis. Very interesting that Facebook became dominant. MySpace was the first social networking site that took off in a mass way, but Facebook is now more dominant, but it's got lots of problems, and who knows if another one will come along. Second Life isn't quite there yet, because the technology isn't quite fast enough, but this will come. And of course Twitter is the most amazing phenomenon. I'll talk about that in a minute. But we didn't predict any of this. We predicted that the web would enable people to create communities online. I don't think anyone predicted that human beings would want to put so much about themselves online and want to put their videos and their pictures online for everybody to see. YouTube is quite a phenomenon. Yes, I did list it in there. I was talking to my 80-year-old neighbour the other day, and she said she at 80 had just got online, and she was using email her grandchildren. And I said, do you use the web? And she said, oh, I don't know about the web, but I do love that YouTube. It's almost like another entertainment channel for her. And this, again, is an amazing phenomenon that causes as many problems as it solves, because, of course, the issues of who polices YouTube, who has the rights to take videos down if they're offensive, is a very big issue for our society. Wikipedia was another thing we didn't predict. I can remember in 1990, before that, I was involved in developing hypertext systems in the 80s, and I can remember thinking that we would have online encyclopedias, but I thought we'd have to pay for them. I thought that the existing publishers, the Encyclopedia Britannica, the Oxford English Dictionary, whatever the big encyclopedias are that you use in Greece, whatever country, would be available online for us to link to from our pages to look up definitions, but that we'd have to pay by some sort of license. I never imagined that we as a people, would create an online encyclopedia that was written by anybody who wanted to write something, and that would develop into something as trusted as Wikipedia. And of course, when Jimmy Wales came up with the idea, everyone said he was mad. It was never going to work, because you'd get rubbish. And of course you do get rubbish, and you do get people that write defamatory information. But because, again, it's this point at the beginning, there was very little on Wikipedia, so no one bothered to look at it. And then as it grew, people started to look at it and say, well, actually that's wrong, don't like that. Well, maybe I'll change it. And it's that million eyeballs or trillion eyeballs effect. Everybody's looking at it, anyone can change it and correct it so fast. Whereas the printed encyclopedias, you had to wait for the next print to correct things. And when you look at the research, there's not much being done, but the research that has been done says that the error rate in Wikipedia is no worse than the error rate in the Encyclopedia Britannica. But it gets corrected more quickly. Wikipedia now has problems. Who has permission to take pages down? How much is it policed? And if it's over-regulated, it could be killed. So we have to think about when the right time to regulate is and how much to regulate, and that's important across the whole web. Twitter, you won't be able to read from where you are the information on this graph. All these slides are up on my. You can get at them from my web page. But the red line here is the growth of Twitter. You don't really have to worry about the numbers. It started in 2007, and you can see it started as SMS text messaging, and then it went onto the web, and people started using on laptops. And it started to take off in the summer 2008. There's a couple of things on here. Stephen Fry is a famous comic in the UK, and when you say in the UK, when did Twitter take off? Everyone says, when Stephen Fry tweeted in the lift that he was stuck in the lift. That was very big in the press in the summer of 2008. The early adopters, my colleague Nigel Shadbolt, started tweeting in that time. But this is the presidential elections in the US. We've got the Mumbai attacks. We've got the miracle on the Hudson, when the plane went down in the Hudson River and everyone took photos. I could have put Michael Jackson's death on here. That was known about on Twitter before anything else. And Twitter has moved now, because so many people use it, it has moved from being completely banal when you say, I had apricots for breakfast, to something that saves lives. We had a student who was struck down with a disease in South America, needed blood, he was a rare blood type, and they couldn't get the blood to him, so out it went on Twitter. And within 24 hours that problem had been solved. People run campaigns to raise money, to do all sorts of things on Twitter. People are using it for political reasons, they're using it for contacting family. It's so many different ways of using it.